Welcome to Do It for the Gram, an Enneagram podcast with your host, certified Enneagram coach, Milton Stewart, where we do it for the Enneagram, not Instagram. We make moves to improve our lives and those in our community. So this year, I got a lot of different things I had planned out to come throughout the year. And what I'm going to start with is the thing called passions. Of each type, the passions, the vice, the emotional patterns. I'm going to break that down a little bit. But I wanted to start with that because this year I also wanted to teach the subtypes of each number so that people can get even more granular and specific on their specific type and their pattern. And really to understand the subtype, you need to understand the passion, vice/emotional pattern. So in these episodes, in this series we got coming up, it's just going to be about the passion, the vice, and the emotional pattern of each type. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Let's go intro music. All right, so you may be wondering, what is the passion, vice, or emotional pattern of your Enneagram type? Because you may have seen the different things and maybe not fully understand it. So what is the passion, vice, or emotional pattern? The passion, vice, or emotional pattern all represent the same thing and are used interchangeably throughout Enneagram teaching and books. The passion, vice, or emotional pattern is a specific habit that each type has that flares up hardcore. Unfortunately, the passion, vice, or emotional pattern can be so automatic or native to the way you interact with the world, you may barely notice it's happening or not even recognize it when it's happening. You may say, that is just the way I am, or I am this kind of person, without really examining why you react the way you do in certain situations. The Latin root word for passion is passio, which means suffering. The connotation of passion now is more of an intense care or enthusiasm for something, but the root meaning of the word passion is actually suffering. That is why it is used in many Enneagram circles, and especially those who built the foundation of Enneagram years and years and years and years and years and years ago. The passion of each number is something we all are suffering or must endure through our lives. It does not mean suffer as in being excruciating pain, but more of a habit that seems to trap us and keep us and can lead us into pain within our lives. The Latin word for vice is vitium, hope I said that right, which means flaw, defect, fault, or error. Emotional pattern is a more new age term that I believe describes it well and makes it easier to communicate to people in our generation. I do not want to abandon the word passion or vice because they make a statement that this emotional pattern we struggle with is something we must work on. And it's not just a jolly old emotion. So throughout this, I will use them interchangeably throughout this whole episode so you can get a grasp on the language as well. Why is the passion, vice, emotional pattern important? Because the Enneagram is a growth tool. Many times people get caught in just getting the knowledge of it and seeing some of the patterns, but do not apply it to themselves in a way that helps them grow. When you start to notice and become aware of your passion, you realize when you may be moving towards unhealthiness and your type structure may be about to take over and react in an automatic habitual behavior instead of choosing the action you want to make. Disrupting your vice allows you to make better choices for your life and just maybe get the things you really want out of life and not settling for a knockoff, counterfeit, faux, or fake version of it. Quick, easy example. If you are looking for affection, attention, and love, but you settle for sex, which will never hit the mark of what you're really longing for. That is more of an extreme example, but this is the case for many areas in our lives. The power of the Enneagram is the internal work. Internal work is not like external work, which is usually fast and caught up in what others think, say, and do. Internal awareness is slower, quieter, more challenging, and way harder than external work. Why do you think so few people intentionally change for the better, unless something chaotic brings it to their attention that they must change? It is not easy, but if you are here, then you must be one of the people working on engaging in the challenging journey of internal work. Recognizing your emotional pattern is important if you want to dive into internal work and truly change your life for the better. All right, so before we get started, I just want to let you know I use Enneagram as a growth tool, not as something to glorify your personality and make you happy about yourself. I don't use it for that, though there's good things there. And I do, I try to be, let me say that, encouraging, no doubt, because it's all about growth and getting better. And we do need a healthy view of working on ourselves, but also understanding and having grace and forgiveness and love for ourselves as well. Sometimes we fall on the extreme of either side. But in this episode, when we start talking about the passion, the bias, and the emotional pattern, this is something that each type struggles with and you must work on. And so very specifically your type. And so when I talk about this episode, it's going to be a little strong on the negative side, more of the negative side, I guess you would say. But it's all in order to help you benefit so that you can make better choices and healthier choices going forward. What is my type passion for the Enneagram 4? The passion, vice, or emotional pattern for the type 4 is envy. Envy comes into play when 4s allows comparison of themselves and others to override their centers of intelligence. This envy can be the inflation or deflation of themselves. 4s can present themselves as superior to others due to their unique authenticity and creativity. 4s can also present as inferior due to unique flaws, authenticity, and abundance of emotions. This envy tends to look like a 4 constantly complaining or talking about how bad their life is and all the bad stuff that constantly keeps happening to them. I'm pretty sure some people can identify. Many times it is told in a deprecating, comical way, but constantly trashing yourself, rather funny or not, is not healthy. The vice of envy of 4s can also look like bloviating of how above someone or a situation they are as well. It can look like being bougie. It can also have a strong intensity to the way they communicate about someone or a situation that makes them feel inferior or superior, which can look like an 8 in some cases, but the intensity is quite different. It has an emotional intensity to it more than necessarily a gut intensity. It takes a little work and feel to notice the difference in that. But some 4s' passion is more along the lines of a deep longing than envy as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. They're similar in one sense, but it is a slight subtle difference of longing and envying something as well. So I just want to put that out there. So it's like, how did I get this passion? It's all in your childhood. Somewhere in the 4's childhood, they received the message in order to get attention or connection, they needed to use envy to make themselves feel inferior or superior and communicate it so people would notice them. Next. So what can I do when I notice my passion is rearing its ugly head, aka envy, when you start to feel envious or you start to feel like deep longing? When 4s feel envy creep into your heart, please take some deep breaths in your nose and out through your mouth slowly. Remember, deep down, 4s really long for a deep connection, and the passion of envy only moves you away from other people, thus making the connection more shallow or not happen. Being superior or inferior automatically separates you from making that deep connection. Everyone has a beautifully tragic life. You are not unique in that fact, but you are unique in the way you are able to experience those highs and lows so intensely, naturally. Everyone can feel that, but 4s have a natural capacity to experience with more of the full intensity that experiences bring without so much work that other types have to do to get there. Asking yourself when feeling envious, why am I getting envious? Then, can I appreciate what I'm envious about instead? Can be very beneficial for working your way out of the pit of despair that 4s can get caught up in, or the pit of extreme, like rogue rage kind of deal, depending on how you're emotionally feeling at that time. So, for example, why am I feeling envious? I think I should be famous with an amazing family. Life is not fair. Can I appreciate what I'm envious about instead? I can. I appreciate their family and them, but I also appreciate I have people who love and care about me when I think about it. So that's just a small example of how to kind of weave your way through some of your emotions, which can be tough for the 4 because there's a lot. But that is some way to kind of help pull you out of it sometimes. Remember, the passion, vice, and emotional pattern gets the opposite or counterfeit version of what you really want in life. Envy does not get you connection, but disconnection. Working on turning envy to appreciation can do wonders for fours. When feeling envious, if you can say to yourself whatever made you envious and create a narrative to appreciate it, it can help you overcome moments of envy that you encounter. So besides that, that's all that I have for Enneagram 4s. I know for it being the emotional pattern of envy or longing, type 4s feel so deeply. And it's an amazing thing. And I know it can be overwhelming as well, but it's absolutely amazing. And so when 4s are able to not allow envy to get the best of them, when you're able to pull yourself out of it, it's going to do wonders for you and the connections that you want in life. Because a lot of times, remember, that passion, that vice, and that emotional pattern of envy or longing actually pushes you away from other people. So you want to make sure you kind of get past that, make choices and healthier choices so that you can actually build those connections and find that deep, deep, deep connection and emotional connection that you want and start to build and develop that, because many other types aren't able to go there as easily as 4s. So if you work on building that, it will only improve as you go throughout life. So besides that, I am $30 as of this recording. I have almost met my goal on Patreon. I'm $70 and I'm trying to get to 100 so that I can pay for a full-time editor for the podcast and completely cover the cost. So if you could help in that would be great, because podcast is not free for me, but it's free for listeners. And you could just go to patreon.com/do-it-for-the-gram. And there you're able to look at and get more resources. I post on there and it's just more in-depth information, and I contact and communicate more closely with the Patreon community of Do It for the Gram podcast. Also, February the 8th, it is coming up very soon. I have my first 2020 event called Foundation to the Enneagram. I'm going to accurately teach the foundation of the Enneagram to people who really want to grow and be a part of a community that wants to grow and improve their community. So I'm super excited about that. You can sign up at kaizencareers.com/events, or you can go to Eventbrite and sign up. There's not a lot of seats to this workshop. So if you are interested, I would go ahead and look at possibly signing up. Hopefully I see you there and we have a good time. Also, if you're looking for coaching, consulting, or teaching, I do that as well through my organization, kaizencareers.com. You can contact me at milton@kaizencareers.com, and we can just discuss how possibly the Enneagram could help your organization, you, in different ways going forward. And also, last but not least, Enneagram 4s. If your emotional pattern, vice, passion of envy is invading your mind, before you react out of strong forwardness, take some time, take some deep breaths in your nose, out through your mouth slowly, and ask yourself, why am I feeling envious? And can I appreciate what I'm envious about? And then do it for the gram, the Enneagram, of course, and make a healthy choice. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.